Welcome. So, Murph doesn't know who you are, right?
No.
So when I said...
Obviously she doesn't know who I am.
Yeah, you don't know exactly, he goes...
that was not fair. That was
It was funny.
mean.
It was funny. Murph said to me yesterday, I said to Murph yesterday, I was like, hey, so Gaby thought they were your kids the other day? And he's like, yeah, why'd you think that?
No, why?
And I said, well...
I was like, whose kids are they? They're really cute.
And I told him.
And then you were like, oh, they're Murph's. I was like, and she was like, you should go introduce yourself. Like, you know, his kids would appreciate that. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't really know Murph at all. Like, I've seen him around the gym a couple of times.
Do you know what the best part was? I got it all on footage. I got
you?
the whole thing. I got you walking onto him.
And me standing there.
Like inching in, and then Murph was like, but with the kids, and then he was like, looks at you, you're like, and then the best part, I don't know if I got it on video.
The best part was when I came back and I was like, not Murph's kids, hey.
Yeah. No. The best part for me was when I heard you go, my kids! My kids!
And then you went along with it.
That's not my kids!
And he was like, this is the mum, like not my wife, the mum. And I was like,
So I was like, that's the wife, that's the kid. So I thought it was great because you're studying, is it teaching?
Well, I was initially doing teaching, but then because pretty much for me to go and get a teaching degree, I would have to do my master's in Australia anyway.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing just a straight so history degree.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and do a master's.
So
that's the plan.
Okay, so that the history degree, so what, leading to like history teaching?
So that, exactly. So
Okay.
I'll hopefully do high school.
Yep.
Do you want to teach in Australia or States?
Yeah, in Australia.
Yep.
But also like, it's sort of just opened so many doors now that I'm like thinking I might pursue more of the history route.
Yeah.
So if I don't want to come back and study straight away, and might try and do historiography in museums and stuff.
Dude.
And like that would be pretty cool. If I could stay over there for a year or so after, just to like sort of pursue.
In the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they just have such a big market. And even like stuff like doing podcasts, I would be like interested in. So.
Dude, we down.
Hey.
Down.
History.
So okay, hang on. So we'll do the intro.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yep. I'm ready. Ready as I am gonna be. So.
Welcome back. We are back with the Murph Mitise show. Special guest today. I say all the way from the States, but basically you were here, then you went to the States.
Way too long.
Then you're back here. Gaby Bentley.
Hello.
Hey. Give us a rundown of why you're here, and then we can go into we'll just continue our conversation.
Okay. Well, pretty much right now I'm studying in America, at Old Dominion University.
Okay.
I'm playing. Oh yeah, got the shirt out.
Get the shirt out. ODU, represent.
Yep, ODU is what we're called.
This is going up at the gym, this one.
We're Monarchs, so it's a lion.
Yep.
But actually Monarchs, that's just supposed to be butterfly, but anyway.
I thought we should put this here.
Sure.
Represent. Full branding.
Yeah.
Just studying ODU.
Pretty much I grew up playing soccer. And then when I finished year 12, I wanted to, keep playing at a high level and have training every day and sort of improving. And so I decided to go to college. I was very, very fortunate to be able to go to Old Dominion, which is with some really, really good coaches, and also just in a really good league. It's a physical league. Mm-hmm. It's all about speed and physicality.
Compared to Australia?
Yeah, in comparison to an even W league. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. So pretty much here to talk to studying history, which I didn't even do in year 12.
I feel like you skipped over a little bit there. So we were talking about your.
There was a lot condensed.
There was a lot condensed.
Part of it, yeah.
And basically, we're just going to chat, right? It's going to chat, and I want to expand out.
Break it up, yeah.
On the condensation. New words! I'm back on new words. So basically, you were just saying before that you used to do media interviews with Adelaide United when you were 13 with M because you were part of the squad.
Yeah.
Right.
So pretty much, I was part of the training squad 1 year, and then I was contracted for 2 years.
Yep.
And then the next year I moved away to America.
Yep.
And I was really fortunate to be a part of the NTC program. The years
NTC
prior, National Training Program.
I'll give you a little bit behind what we're doing here. Murph doesn't really know soccer. Alright, Murph doesn't know
system.
The different round balls. The white round ball or the orange round balls.
Yeah. So Murph's will give us a good. So basically, we're gonna have to break down. This is the same with basketball. Though. Like we get ballers in here. I like Sydney. Cool. Then we'll ask some questions. So break it down. Let's pretend Murph doesn't know anything.
Pretend.
And we want to go through like what is the NTC system? How did you get into that? How did that lead into your high level playing? What did you find here? And then obviously now you've got to college. I want to talk about history. I just want to I finally got you in.
Okay.
Finally got you in. Just chat freely.
So pretty much, it all started. We go back to the first team I made, and that was an under 13 team. It was under 13s, but I was 10 at the time. So I was playing with people that were 2.5 years older than me.
Wow.
And that was just a trip to Queensland with a whole lot of girls, that are still playing now, but like sort of just playing. Was
this from a school team?
No, this was like the first state team that I made.
Okay, so how did you make that state team? Did you play through did you start with boys?
Sure. No, I literally started at Adelaide Uni.
Yeah.
With coach called Drago Klejc. And my sister just went out for a kick to play around because she's not the sportive type. And then Drago pulled me aside and was like, you want to play, and he has a very, very thick Serbian accent. And I was like, what? He was like, you standing there, you should play. You join. And
so you were watching at this point?
Yeah, I was just there for trials.
You went to trial.
So I'm in runners, and I'm in these basketball boots because back then I only played basketball. They used to call me mini Jordan in the schoolyard. Anyway, and so pretty much I was like, I play basketball. Like, no, I love basketball. My dad loved basketball. And all my best friends, I was in like a boys team then. And then so pretty much joined in, and then in that year I made the under 13 A's team, and my sister made the under 13 B's team.
Okay.
And then we literally went out and I played a season with a whole lot of like Adelaide Uni girls. And then there was probably about 6 of us that got selected to be in the squad, the under 13 squad. And then I think 4 of us went away from Adelaide Uni in that tournament, and so I have like big memories for like that first.
Who went away? Like, can you anyone that was anyone that we would know now? Like name names.
Lonestia.
Yeah.
She was
Metro.
In that squad. Yeah. Lonestia, Charlotte Dorr.
Yeah.
She plays footy now.
Okay.
She's playing for Glenelg, I think.
Okay. And then SNFL?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Emmy Sulio and Ellie Bills, who are my
still current uni
long time
alumni.
Friends. Trying to think. Bev quickly was our trainer.
Bev.
Debbie.
If we got a chance to get Bev on, we're gonna get Bev on. Quality.
Yeah. She has many stories
so
to tell.
Bev is Rachel's mum. So I told you we were going to see if we can try and get Rachel quickly on here and chat to her. She's full of stories.
That was when Rachel was like, I'm pretty sure that was when she was in that Young Tutors.
Was it? Yeah.
That year. And
Bev's
she was just
mum.
like, everyone's like, star.
Next
like,
level.
it was like, you're Rachel Quigley's mum. Like, it was not hilarious.
Who was more of a star, Rachel or Bev? At that point in time. Because Bev's just gone miles beyond now. Bev's just superstar.
Yeah, I don't know. They've definitely got me through a bad round of blisters.
Yeah.
Bad round. Never get, Dad's like, oh, you've made this big team. I'll buy you boots before you go, the day before.
Oh, wow.
And then,
boots.
And they were nice new boots too.
Yeah.
I love them. black and yellow, because I'm a Tigers fan even back then. Black and yellow Nikes, first real pair of new boots I'd ever owned. Like
Wow.
first, you never forget the first pair that you choose out.
Do you know what though? I'll be honest with you. I've never bought. I bought one new pair of boots ever. They were cheapo from like Amard or one of those places. All the other pairs of boots I got. So the boots I'm playing currently, I bought from Frank for $20. Alright. He never really worn them. They were a bit. Oh no, he won them for like 2 or 3 games. Yeah.
Why would you even sell them for $20?
I was like, he goes, I can't wear them. I'm not going to sell them. I said, I'll give you $20 for me. He's like, alright. So he sold them to me. Before that, and now I play with tape, so like duct tape around them.
Yeah.
And then last 2 years I've been out. Even before that, I had another mate's old pair of boots who also ended up getting taped up by mid to late season. And I reckon the years before that, I had probably 4 or 5 pairs of boots. I don't think I've had new boots in about 7 or 8 years.
Well, I've been going through about 15 pairs since then.
Well, okay, yeah.
Like, one per year.
So you got your new boots. You got your new boots. Bev was there.
But anyway, so that was on the 13s.
Yeah.
And then pretty much, then I played a year on the 14s with the girls. Like,
So you were 11 at this point.
Yeah, it was the summer.
Yep.
And then pretty much so I was 11. Then I was in under 12s, I was playing under 14s. And then in that year, that's when I first played with Emma Checker.
Hey, yep.
So then she came into the picture.
Shout out, James. Mev's like, hey.
Yeah. And then
I might make you one day.
and then the year after that was when Alex Chidiac and Emily Condon were introduced into my lives.
My favourites.
Yeah, Condon goes to our gym, right?
And Chids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Condon and
Chids,
Chids, both former alumni.
And the
now
Matildas?
Chids and Matildas.
Yep.
Condon is in the Matildas
Program.
program and like fringe squad.
Like a reserve sort of thing?
It's not really
It's
reserve.
like a development almost.
Yeah,
It's like a step in the door.
Is
Like
it?
whether they take the next step.
They can't close the door on it because she's got
Yeah.
a foot there.
Yep.
You know, she's still, and basically like if Em keeps going like she's going, she'll hopefully be in the squad.
Yeah.
Nice.
If everything goes well.
Well, she did get a debut.
She did.
Mhm.
She was cap number 200. And
Captain number
What
200.
then
Like-
cap. So she was cap.
Appearance.
Yeah. So appearance 200. She was the 200th Matilda. Who was it against? It was against. It was a great number.
I was away. It was one of the really weird times. I only got the highlights.
Yeah, it was in. I feel like it was the Algarve Cup. It was Algarve, and on her debut, she got injured. Got tackled.
Yeah.
Bad tackle. Got injured.
It was like
And
crazy.
was out.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is bullshit.
No.
Yeah.
and then she got her second appearance. She did.
I feel like she. Oh, did she? No, I don't feel like she. No, I thought she was injured. Maybe she was injured in the second one.
I thought she went away again. Oh, mate, I'm talking with young Matildas.
Maybe they're right now. They're right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, shout out to Chids and Condon. We're gonna get them on. We're getting them on.
We get them on. You
Gosh,
come-
you should get them together. They even back then they were so prestigious.
Yeah.
Stories
Stories.
kept.
Yeah.
Well, back then we had this little squad because Chidiac had these gloves and she was very renowned for them.
I want to see if we can get like a flash up of the gloves because I've got photos. So be like, we used to have gloves. I will put them on.
And so they were very iconic. Like she would never take them off.
Yeah.
And
Were her hands cold, or was it she just
No,
like
like
it's like a safety blanket?
I don't know. She's just always doing something.
She's not a goalkeeper,
She's always
it's
doing
like-
something.
No, she's not
no.
keeping
They were white gloves, so like they were cut off, so like her fingers would stick out. So like it was like the gloves you wear if you were like bike riding, like mountain bike riding.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know. We had this weird thing, and it was about like the Joker, Spiderman, and the Thief. And I was a thief. She
Yeah.
was the Joker. I think it was Dylan Holmes.
Was it Spider-Man?
Was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was anyway, and so it's like this weird like ongoing joke that you have back then, and
Like, do you know how it came up? Can you give us anything you can give us now? We will bring up in the future. I guarantee it.
I think that's just like the conversations that you have when you're 13 years old.
Okay.
And you know.
All right. Yep.
But it was definitely like it wasn't a cliquey thing, but it was definitely like. But that's how me and Chidiac became friends.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
God, it might have even been Emily who loves Spider-Man. Like. The things
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so then we went away that year. And then pretty much after that we all trained together up until we're about.
So this was, when you say train together, was this part of a...
So that then wasn't it wasn't a full-time program.
Yep.
And then we had a coach called Vito.
Yep.
And then the next year we went then it was Coast Harbour time. So we had Canberra, which is on 13s. And then the next year it was 2 years of Coast Harbour.
So
and then that was split up. So then Chidiac went to Canberra again, and then I went to Coast Harbour, which is
so when you say
national tournament.
Okay, so under 14s national tournament, Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
Canberra was same.
Under 13s.
Under 13s. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is the identification.
Yeah.
Tournaments and stuff.
So you can get seen by overseas.
Yeah. By Australian coaches and stuff. And I I never made any big teams. But they always made the all-star team. wasn't quite good enough to make that.
Yeah.
And then pretty much when I went, so then we did 2 years of Coast Harbour with Jeff Hargraves for 1 year.
You mentioned Jeff. Talk about Jeff a little bit actually, I think.
Yeah, and then the year before that, I think I had Jeff 2 years. I must have. Anyway, then he had NTC for a little bit, so that's when it turned into a full-time program.
So NTC is now the
national training program
run out of where?
Yes, South Australian Football Federation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty much after Coast Harbour, I went to an Adelaide United trial.
Okay.
And so that was the first year. The first year that Ross Aloisi was part of it. And pretty much there was 2 NTC girls that made the train-on team. And that was me and Lauren Steer. Yeah, that year. I think Dylan was part of it too. Like, sort of becomes a blur.
Okay.
Anyway,
Dylan, if you're part of it, just
I hope you were. I think you were.
Hit us up in the comment and we'll pass it to Gab.
Yeah. Yeah. So back then I was the right back, and so I was a really feisty player. And that's what I think that's what Ross liked about me. I don't know. Anyway, so I pretty much was training Ross for 3 years.
As part of NTC.
Yep. But it was first the season of Adelaide United. And then pretty much I just in that I think it was 2.5 seasons. I just learned so much from him. So I was with him, so 1 pre-season, and then, 1 pre-season, and I was trained on that year. The next year I was signed, made my first appearance against at Brisbane's, which was really cool.
How old were you then?
I would have been 17 then.
So you made 17, you made your first team appearance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 21 now.
Booyah.
This is a while later.
So old. Dude.
Really?
I've got 2 kids in that.
I got 2 kids and a wife? Well,
I don't even know about your kids.
I have 15. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, and then, the next year, Ross moved on. And we had Jamie.
Yep.
And got 2. I travelled once but didn't get on, and then I.
So you're still signed. This is just
I got re-signed.
Yeah, you re-signed again. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was also that was in year 12 as well. So pretty much I finished NTC. Okay. Just jump back a bit. So the year that I made train on, I then went into the NTC program full time with Ross.
Okay.
And then that year we went away to the NTC Challenge and we won.
Yes.
And so
now, is this one of the first times you won, or the only times you won the challenge?
Yeah. This is the only time the South Australian team had won the challenge.
I have done an interview with Alexandra.
Yes.
And she does bring this up.
It was a great year.
Yeah.
Great year.
Talk about it.
We got pushed so hard, and I think it was the first time we'd all been in this sort of elite program, and so been given the opportunity to be as good as we got. And we're under Ross and Paul Pezos, and they just got so much out of us, and we just learnt so much. And then Nick Hadjikostas was our fitness guy, and he was great to be around as well. So we just really we got pushed, like, you know, as kids, but we just got looked after at the same time.
How so? Like if you were to say about how Ross and Paul and Nick push you, and you got so much, because Chids has said exactly the same thing. Like that year was the best year, learned so much, you got pushed so much, What, like for you, what is that? Because a lot of coaches out there now don't know or don't push or don't care, or, you know what I mean? Like they don't have that, the nous that these guys have. And Ross's name's come up quite a few times. I think Jen mentioned.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Even when I was at we did a soccer girls dinner or something the first week I was back, and I you still talk then, and you're like, that was like a game changer for everyone.
Why?
I think it was just like back then, you know, you learned something about, you know, pace on the ball, being disciplined with your touch, you know, being called out for things that, you know, you might have made a leap in, and then if you saw that you had made that leap, and then you know go back to bad habits, then you get called out on it. If you know, and like at the start it was like an awakening. Like it was like, yep, okay, like. Anyway.
So you weren't used to that level of being called out or being pushed?
No, not at all.
What was the level before that you were playing at?
We were still at the same level, but we had different coaches with different styles.
And why did you like this more then? Why was this such a big standout for you? Like being called out, being pushed more?
I think when we first started, like our first year with United, like that was in a professional environment, an adults environment.
It was or wasn't?
It was.
Okay.
So it was around, so like, you know, you're just used to it. And, you know, like more vocal and whatnot. But then also like everything was just like really planned out. And like with Ross, it was all about like, you know, doing everything properly. You know, the cones being in the right order. You know, respecting your bib, your boots being clean. You know, and so
I'm gonna try and lead. I'll lead you somewhere. I'll ask you, like, how would you describe the environment that Ross created for you girls in 1 or 2 words? What are the first 2 words or first word that comes to mind?
Relentless and discipline.
Relentless and discipline. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Like, Relentless was our like team motto for like the season.
Still got the book.
Yeah.
Still got the book. It's still in the bag.
I was just going to bring up that book again.
You can bring it up. You bring it up and I'll get it.
The book.
I don't know if Gaby's seen it. Keep talking.
Anyway, so that first year, it was a special year. And I just remember being around all these.
Still got it. Remember episode 1.
Yeah.
You ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
You've got to read it. Even if you're a basketball fan anyway.
Yeah.
You've got to read it.
This is written. Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's trainer.
Manager.
No, not manager. Trainer.
Okay.
He was signed for 3 months when Jordan first started, and he stayed for 17 years.
Wow.
It is fantastic.
He trained Kobe and Dwayne Wade as well.
Yeah.
So like the top level.
Yeah.
I really feel like we need commissions now. You know?
At least come onto the show.
We need to get some shit happening. I'm gonna hit them up. Anyway.
And it just someone that's sort of come to mind when you like to just say what are the key words or whatever. Was Melissa Barbieri.
Oh, Bubs.
Yeah.
Shout out
so
Bubs.
no, literally, like I remember that first season, like she came in, and I just remember learning
as a
coach.
Captain. Okay.
She was, I think she was captain.
Of the United squad we're talking.
Yeah, of the United squad. Like I think she was co-captain. Anyway, and then so she'd just come back from having a baby, and everyone was, you know, like she had so many people to prove to.
So Bubs is a former captain of the Matildas.
Okay.
Goalkeeper. And she's in Melbourne City.
She's in Melbourne City.
She's been asked co-coach of or assistant coach of Melbourne City in the W League.
Which is a big deal.
Big deal. Fox Sports.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Commentator as well. Knows her football.
Yeah.
It's very strongly opinionated.
Yeah.
Like if here we go, thrown out there, right? Once again, when W League comes up, Bubs comes with the City team, I'm trying to hit her up. Get her in.
I would like to watch that.
Yeah.
She just has so many good stories.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So keep going. I'm getting Bubs in. We can do it.
Anyway, like she was just like, I remember doing this one, like it was like day one, and we were writing down all the words that we think we should be associated with.
Yep.
And whatnot. And she was in my group, and she was just like a bullet train, just like every word she said was great. And
can you give us some examples?
Resilient, reliant, dependent, hardworking, and then like relentless came up.
Yeah.
And then like we added a relentless.
Relentless. The reds.
But like relentless was what we like mainly went.
Yeah.
And then she actually got shin pad holders made for the team. And our personalised, it was awesome. Anyway, so they said relentless. I think one said relentless, and the other one said your last name.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was special. Like,
yeah. Have you still got them?
I have one of them.
Yeah.
They got me.
Have you written name one or the relentless one?
I think that's the relentless one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what were
right?
So you chose words that represented your team at that time, that culture. What were the other words? So relentless was obviously the main one. What were the other couple? Whatever you had.
So resilient, relentless, and I think maybe something like dedicated or something like that.
Nice.
Were our three words, and we got these. So her name's she's a big person in basketball. I want to say her name's Jan.
Jan Sterling.
Jan Sterling. Yep. So she came in.
Ex-Opals coach.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. There it is.
I'm on now.
Now bring in the
So she came in and also spoke to our team, and she told us her Opal story and stuff. And what she did for us was that she got these whiteboard magnetic things made out for us, and they had our 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
And our Relentless Adelaide United season 2014, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, and then there was like a goal section and a to-do section.
On these magnets.
Yeah, on and they're about this big. And she said that for her Opals team, she got them made and she got them all put on the fridge, and so every day you'd open your fridge and you'd look, and anyway, I still have mine in my room, like on my little whiteboard.
Yeah.
What was the goal? If you want to tell us, what was the goal on that magnet?
I think that then was like all about work rate for me and sort of being vocal as a young player.
Yeah.
And actually one that I was really like working on then was focus. Yeah. And because just as a younger player, like I was a bit inconsistent as a trainer, like, and that's just overtraining and school and juggling, juggling everything. So that was sort of something that I'd sort of always, and also like that was then I'd sort of just learn about dieting and all that stuff. So
and this is a
sort of had my go-to. Yeah, I think I was 16 that year, 17 the year I signed, and then 18 the second year I signed.
Okay.
But yeah.
On that focus, don't want that we need to do with it. Yeah, so keep looking at it.
Buzz in a sec.
Yeah, it's just there's gonna be noise in a sec. We'll just it's fine.
Yeah.
So on that whiteboard, talk about that in a sec as well. Do you have another goal written in now? Where it was focused?
Well,
do you
well, actually, I haven't rubbed out what I've got right now. It has my my eating plan on it. It has my eating plan.
Your eating plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like pretty much like what my go-to snack would be.
Keep going.
And yeah, it's still on route. Actually, I'm going to take it to America this time, just to sort of remind me.
Do you have an idea on a goal that you would like if
going
you
into the
write it down?
season? I don't know. I'm reading a couple of books now.
What are you reading? Tell us that.
I'm reading one book, and it's about the All Blacks.
Okay.
And it's got to do with...
Is it called Legacy?
Legacy, that's it.
Great book. Haven't got it back.
Something.
Yeah, it's another one.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great book. And I'm slowly getting by like get through it thoroughly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because each chapter has a different lesson. And like Kevin Holohan actually gave it to me as a gift.
Yeah.
For a bit of season motivation.
Big shout out, big Kev.
Yeah.
On that, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little break because we're going to keep getting into this.
Like,
if you get a good book, you don't tend to put it
yeah.
down. I read that in I reckon 4 days.
Tim Grover knows more than anything about mental side of sport. His book is a blueprint for discovery. What you are capable of achieving, resulting in your imagination. Oh my god.
I reckon I got like goosebumps reading that several times.
Yeah.
It's the way he describes things.
Yeah.
He's
and
no bullshit kind of coach.
He's no bullshit. And what I found with that one as well is that because he comes from the physical development side of things, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, what he says to his clients, which is his athletes, the things that I'm like, oh, I've done that, I've been there.
Yeah.
And the way he thinks it's absolutely crazy. It goes through 3 types of people: cleaners, closers, and callers. Gab.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Take a photo after if you want.
Yeah. No, I definitely. I actually have a book voucher from the babysitting I've done. So.
Dude.
Done.
I'll send you the photo of it. So.
Yeah. Well, and the other book that I actually look for like books like to read while I'm in season, and that's why I've actually stocked up on a holiday reading. And the other book I got was While No One's Watching, written by Carly Lloyd.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so she's a
USA national team player.
Yeah, she's a USA national team player. And she talks about like her mentor, a lot. And so she has this one player. It's like so you say this is the trainer's insight into what he's learned. So it's her talking about her trainer and their relationship over 15 years.
Okay.
And about like her ups and downs, and triumphs and the glory that made everything so good, and the build up to it, and that's a brilliant read as well. Like, and I read that in season my freshman year.
So freshman was like
first year of college sport, and that definitely fueled the belly. For just to keep going and and that was a season that I didn't get played.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple of minutes at the end of the season. That fueled up the next season and definitely took a plunge.
Can I touch on that for a sec? So your first season, what was that with the college team?
Yeah.
This team?
Yeah.
You didn't play?
No.
How'd you go about the mindset of that sort of thing? Like, how do you? Because a lot of people, when they don't play, they don't get a chance. They go, maybe there's no point. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Not made for this. Obviously, you said yes, I am.
Well,
how did you go about that?
I think for me, I wanted to be there so badly, and I was just so desperate to see my best player, and so pretty much I remember I used to go out there, and I used to have a similar mindset when I was in United, and I would say I might not be the best player out here, but I can make someone the best player.
That's cool.
Put a quote that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway, so that was so even in freshman year, I was like, I'm gonna be I'm gonna try my hardest to work my hardest, and at that time I was defending, so pretty much I was like, the more I push this player while defending them, the less breaks I give them, the harder they're gonna have to work for it, and the more ready they are gonna be for that game. You know what I mean? So I think that the mindset I go into training was, it's not about me, it's about my team, and about what if I'm not going to make that pitch and they are, I'm going to make sure they earn it. I'm going to make sure that they're not given anything easy. So
I want to get that bit of video we just took.
That whole thing.
And play it to the 36ers in pre-season.
Dude, this is a 21-year-old I was gonna say girl. No, you're a lady at 21. That's. I think that there, I haven't really heard that expressed as eloquently before.
People know it, but they haven't worded it like that.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
I want to put this like explosions and shit. Yeah, keep going. Sorry, keep going.
Anyway.
This is great.
Yeah, and then.
Are you having a good time?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
I love talking about what I love.
No,
like,
keep going, yeah.
And the next season, so the next season was spring season.
Okay. So how does it work to define
you
that?
You have one really, really competitive season. That's fall. So I'm just about to go into fall. And, so that's like I think it's 5.5 months.
And that's like our Australian July to December.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And then we then have a month break over Christmas, and then we go into spring season.
Okay.
So then I came home for 3 weeks I think, and it was Australian summer.
Yep.
So obviously did a lot of running, a lot of fitness. Came back, and then sort of saw that as my window to sort of get there in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Get there physically.
Okay.
And I did made a big plunge that spring. And I was like, getting some good game time, and more importantly, like you can get game time and you can not get the ball, and you can not make a difference in the game. You know, I remember like going into games and being like, like I'm gonna do something special today, and so like I remember whenever just growing up, there's two things that like stood out that my dad like taught me about, and one was about corners.
Okay.
And he's like, whatever you do like attacking corners, not defensive. That's
that's
not
that's a whole other ballgame. Yeah.
He's like, whatever you do something. Like, don't just stand there in an attacking, in an attacking corner. Just do something, because you're gonna make some movement, and and that's my dad's way of like a creative way of that desperate. Relentless attitude in the box.
Yeah.
And this is a corner kick, right?
Yeah.
Going for goal. Corner
Going
kick.
for goal, it's one of the greatest opportunities a corner kick. Yeah. And especially.
Basically, you get a free ball. You get to put a free ball into the box.
Yeah. And it's a 50-50. You can make it whatever percentage you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the other thing, Dad would say to me, he was like, whatever happens today, and it's like more growing up, he was like, do something special, and that was when I would be like, adding something into like that I was working on. So like, I'd be working on the scissor kick, or I'd be working on the turn, or whatever. Yeah. And every time if I did do something special, cause my dad would go to every game, every training, he'd be like, I saw that, and he'd be like, you did it, And that was crazy. And it was just like so much.
How does that feel? Like you come off and you've done something, and Dad's like, I saw you do that.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about like that's like the power of sort of setting little goals and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like so even like when I go out to training and stuff, like I'll be working on like certain things, you know what I mean? And I'm like, cause even now like I don't have my dad there every day, and I'm sort of like, I'm going to do that. If there's any opportunity to do that today, I'm going to take it. Yeah. And I don't know. Like I think, like soccer is so much about like practice and repetition and the hours that you do away from training.
It's everything you do is away from training.
No, definitely.
And I think one of the things that we've talked about before, and I've talked about with Chids as well, is that if you want to make it at a high level, or even, obviously you're a scholar, you've got a scholarship in college, right, which is high level, you've got to put in the time outside that. Your hobby has to become your job. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're putting in the extra hours, you can't just be like, I'm going to train 3 times a week and then I'm going to go play and I'll be good then. Like, you've got to put in the gym work, you've got to put in the nutrition and recovery and like it goes on.
When I was really young, when I had just like gotten started with United, I remember I had another chat with Dad, and he was like, he told me about, I want to say it's like Gavin Bentley, like the footy player. He was saying that he read an article once about him, and he said every extra thing I do is something that someone's not. And everybody knows that about sport, but you don't know how.
To practice them.
Yeah. Like you don't actually know that little bit extra you do is something you've got over someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they don't do
and that's what Carly Lloyd's book is all about.
Yeah.
It's all about fueling the body, fueling the mind. For when you get there, you got to know that you earned it.
Yeah. One of the car conversations I had with Chids. So one of the I don't know if I told you this. One of the things I did. So Chids and I have like crazy conversations, right? From when she put one out, right? I picked her from the airport. No, I think I was taking her to the airport. Is it I'm going on, mate. Anyway, when she was here, right? And when she went to Sydney. And what I did is I got the microphone on my phone and put my phone in the corner, like the side console, and just had it directed and just recording audio, right? Didn't tell her. I was like, how's your day, mate? And she just went, anyway, within that conversation, she said to me, I wake up in the morning, and the first, basically, the conversation was, I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think about is soccer. What do I do before I go to bed? What's the last thing I think about before I go to bed? And I was like, yeah, exactly. Like, if you're not, like I said to her, I wake up in the morning, first thing I think about is my business and my training and what's happening there. The last thing I think about is exactly the same thing. You know, and for me, it's like minute 1 to minute end. You know, that's everything. If you want to take it to that next level. If you're happy not doing that, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But if that's going to be your lifestyle, you know, if that's what you want to make from your life, it has to be that way.
You pretty much need to make your passion your job and your job your passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no such thing as luck.
Definitely.
No, there's no such thing as luck.
And definitely, like, I think with college, like, obviously, you know, a lot of girls are on scholarship, and like sometimes people don't have the same mentality as that. And so it's just literally when you find people that do, you're just like, you know, I want to do what you're doing.
Yeah. Gravitate towards that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you sort of like, so we have this thing in our college team, and it's all about doing extra. So like I came in and I could, you know, it's like you've so much to work on but so little time. So like you always feel you're running out. Anyway, so I would always like do the extra 20 minutes after training, and like that was sort of like the small thing. And then
so when you say extra 20 minutes, is that guided, or are you just doing your own running or ball work?
I usually just do ball work after trainings. You know, obviously it depends on your cycle and stuff.
Yeah.
Like and because usually like when I was growing up, I'd always like I think literally it was like me, Chids, and Em who would always be trying to be the first ones out. So like you have that extra 15 minutes on the ball before anyone else. Like not before anyone else, but like it was like your own, like, you know, you just take the time you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then because of classes and stuff, because like our schedules are so condensed, like that's what we usually do. Like so that's like sort of me time.
Yep.
And that's what I call it. So it's like if it's something that like you know, my left foot touch wasn't what it usually is, or you know, it wasn't comfortable, you know, or something that really like revved me up during the training, then I'll be like, I need me time. Like I need to sort this out. I need to sort my feet out. I need to, you know, stuff like that. And like, you know, when you're not in shape, that's me time. Like you know, so I need to do something about it.
And you actually refer to it as me time.
Yeah.
It's not work time.
Yeah.
This is the psychology, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. And I find it, I get offended. This is me, right? But I get offended when people talk about the gym as work, right?
Yeah.
I get it, right? Because other people say work, right?
Yeah.
For me, like my gym.
There's a difference between working hard though and.
No. It's just the mindset, right? So yes, that's my workspace. That's what I do, right? But then I hear other trainers go, I've got to go to work. I'm like, that offends me. Because this is me time. This is my space. Yeah. Even though you are working, I think
that's the philosophy that you want to.
It's the philosophy, It's you know, like your time is in the court, right? When you're here with the boys, that's Murph doing his thing. I don't know if you refer to it as work or
no.
Exactly.
Is that not work?
Look at this, right? Look at this.
That's not work to you.
Yeah.
That's why I think that work.
But the mindset behind how you relate to things, not necessarily what the thing is, how you relate to it, determines how you go about doing it and how much effort you put into doing it. And as you're saying me time, and everyone knows me time is important. Your me time is towards your goal for soccer. At that point in time. I think that's fantastic. That's why you're here. Cool. Keep going. Yeah.
And then like I feel like also like that sort of, you know, when you are like taking so many hours and stuff, that's what keeps you sane. Because that's when you fix what you fix tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, you fix what you take so many wins in the day, but you know, as like young players that always want to improve, there's that one thing that like you're not going to be happy with until you like spend some time on and stuff. And so like I feel like me time goes into tomorrow. Like, you know, like
so me time goes into tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're preparing for future. Like basically you're offsetting future failures. That's what you're doing. You're offsetting future failures by putting in the work today.
Exactly.
And learn that.
Quote that too. So I want to touch on a couple of things you mentioned before and bring it back. The first one was your diet. So you're actually writing down a meal plan for yourself right now.
So like pretty much when the first like bit of dietitian stuff I went into was I did a bit of academics, just getting used to. That was when I first started training every day, and then I went to an actual dietitian, and she wrote me down I had a strict meal plan, and when I was in year 11, Ross had to talk to me and was like, look, like you need to be more physical, like you need to be like if you want to be a footballer, like you need to do a lot more. So pretty much I went with Mitch Hedgecostas and did like this swimming weights, first time I'd ever picked up a weight. And then anyway, so the first time and then I did a swimming program in the mornings and I was training at night and I was so tired. I was so tired like all the time, but that was when nutrition was really important. Okay. So then I like went into like a strict, this is what I was eating and and that stuff was all about eating enough. Yep. You know, like before I didn't have the right energy. Like and that's just being a kid and sort of being at school.
Wheat bix in the morning.
Exactly.
Shakes at lunch.
Lollies for energy.
Packets of shakes, muesli bars.
Yeah.
And a healthy day, mum gives you a muesli bar.
Well, actually, no, to be fair, my mum didn't like she actually buys very healthy food, but it wasn't food for an athlete.
Yep.
Yeah. So the thing is
that's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
So like my whole even like I come back here now and my mum like we don't have many sweets and we don't have anything. But it's like, Mum, I have to do running today. Like, I need pasta. I need something like at lunch so that I can get that 5 o'clock running session done. You know, just like and stuff like that is in America is what I really like because I know how many eggs I have in the fridge. I can I know that I'm gonna have my conditioning sessions. I know that if I so we'll go back and do morning running sessions. So I'll know that I'm gonna have a really carb high dinner. You know what I mean? And then maybe I'll stack it out later, but my dinner's gonna be carb high because I'm gonna have a 6 a.m. running session. Yeah. And just stuff like that, it becomes so important to then get that result. And that's what another thing, which is when I came to college, that my coaches are so adamant about is eating well, as in and not eating and not necessarily eating healthily, as in celery sticks, in that department,
rabbit food.
Yeah, rabbit, exactly.
Do you think Murph is celery sticks? Look at the man.
I like celery.
You like celery, right?
Yeah.
It's not there.
It's a portion of my.
Yeah.
But literally, when we're on away trips, our coaches just spoil us because they're you need to whenever you do get on that field, you need to be ready, you know. And then sort of if you don't play, you're sort of well, I've got to run. I just ate that much.
So you design your own nutrition plans now, or you still see a dietitian?
Well, now I have a good mate from high school, and she's doing nutrition. Okay. So she's
nutrition?
She's doing nutrition.
Oh, I thought you said she's a type of nutrition. Okay.
No. So she's doing nutrition. So she. I showed her what I had. Anyway, so I showed her what I originally had from my first visit, and then she just adjusted it a bit. But pretty much like I've like after going to that nutrition at first, I know what I should be eating, and I also know when to like sort of not overeat on it. But it's a lot easier when you're in a routine with training and stuff. You know what I mean? Like so right now I've had I think like 6 weeks of sort of lower training time, and so you just don't eat as much. You don't eat as much. Like but yeah.
How in tune are you with your own body? So do you eat according to how you feel? Like, do you listen to your body, or you go, it's 10 o'clock, my diet says I've got to eat this then?
I'm very much I'll fuel my body. Like if I'm feeling hungry, then I'll eat, but you just got to make sure you're eating the right things.
Yeah.
So like when I'm in season, it's like I'll eat a lot, but then like I'll have like 3 significant meals a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Snack between.
Yeah. So I'll like but I always try and have an eggs breakfast to like start off the day. So pretty much we have we normally have a morning lift, and then we get given shakes or bars after, and then usually before I like break a bar and like have half a bar when I'm walking, and then I'll come back and I'll have like a big eggs meal.
Yep.
And then I'll come back just before training at like 2, and I'll then have my like sort of pasta and bolognese, or like chicken and a little bit of rice, like but that's actually not a big meal. Like it's sort of like a half.
That's a post workout meal.
Yeah, no, that's before my afternoon training.
Okay, between the 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sometimes I'll have a protein shake instead of that if I don't have time to make anything, or I haven't like prepared anything. And that works really well as well, just to sort of make sure that I like had something to like. Cause you can literally when you're training, you literally feel when you've like had enough to eat and when you're not. Like, and that's what. So like when you're saying like, do you like go to this amount? And I'm like, no, but I know when I'm prepared properly for trainings and whatnot. And then I would just usually have like a normal one change up dinner. But that's in season. Like so like for pre-season, I'll always have a big dinner because we're doing so much in the morning.
Yep.
But yeah, in season's very different with intensities and stuff.
Yep.
But
It's just so cool that you know your body well enough now to go, I need to eat this, or I need to eat a little bit more, and you understand.
Yeah.
So it's sort of you got 2 things. You got your understanding and knowledge and experience, and you got your intuition at the same time. So you know what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, but then go, but my body needs a little bit more, or my body doesn't need as much now, or I need to eat now sort of later on. That combination is really cool, especially at, again, 21.
And that's also
21, I wasn't doing that.
It's definitely like I'm a person who like loses and gains weight quite fast, and so like definitely like that stuff has like really became important in season because you can't overeat, you know what I mean, and and because like what I learned in when I first went to the first nutritionist was like you actually don't need that much food to fuel your body, but you just need to eat it at the right time. You know what I mean? And so that was a lot like that's why I always like I hate going to training rushed if I haven't ate. So like that's okay, it's a pet hate.
Do you have like food stashes? Like, do you like boil eggs and keep them just in case?
So that's the thing with my eggs is that I usually either buy the hard boiled ones or I like boil.
You buy hard boiled eggs.
Yeah, you can do that in America. It's America. Yep. and that's like so like pretty much for like last pre-season we did for fall. I had pre-egg. I had pre hard boiled eggs, and I would just take 2 like 20 minutes before training. Except
do they come with the shell on?
No, they're peeled already. It's fabulous.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, and so that was just it was just like sort of like habits. Like it was like something good to sort of grab and go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The other side I was going to say, that was really good by the way. The other side was, so all I've heard so far is you just train your ass off and eat perfectly and everything's amazing.
So yes, I wouldn't say perfectly. I would say
perfectly for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you do for downtime? What do you do for do you spend time in recovery? Do you spend time in just doing something relaxing where you get the body a chance
for
to
me,
prepare?
like when I'm and also like as a college athlete, like because we do so many hours in the classroom as well, and so it really is so hard bouncing. And I do a lot of naps, and I've always been a nap person. I have. Josh knows that. He's waking me up to do a lot of naps. And like that's also something that I know my body needs. Like, and because I'm a person that is like, I'm not a morning person. I think there's something in my like brain, like a something that needs to go off for me to like really wake up, and that doesn't happen until about 11 o'clock. I remember once when we were at the NTC challenge, and we had an earlier game, and Ross Aloisi was like to me, like he was like to the team, oh guys, we've got an early game soon, make sure everyone's prepared. And he was like, so Gabby, that means you need to be up and at 'em and alert. And he was like, I don't want anything else. And I was like, and he was like, I think you should take a shower, do whatever you can to be prepared. And I was like, yeah. So woke up the next day, it was like freaking never been so awake. Like, I had my shower. And actually, whenever I have to be really awake and alert, I usually shower before.
Like, are we talking about cold showers or just
shower to wake me up? And so like sometimes we'll have to be like up really early for games. Like sometimes we'll have like a 1 o'clock game, but then you have to go for an 8 o'clock walkthrough. And you're like 8 o'clock, and I'm like, but that's sort of early still. Like, you know, and to be because you want to always start your day on the right foot. Like start your day very focused. And like it's like that game day prep is just like you don't realise how important it gets. But
I actually read there was a small snippet in the paper today. I went up to the cafe and there was a little snippet in there that said, what was it? If you wake up thinking you're gonna have a stressful day, or it's gonna be a tough day, you perceive that day as worse. If you wake up thinking it's gonna be a good day, you perceive the day as better, even though it's the same day.
Yeah,
and I read
definitely.
That. No, definitely. And so I thought that was super cool. It was like we know this. I think in Chidiac we know this.
I also think that like for us, like as athletes, like when we're in that college system and you're training so much, like just like obviously the mental game is everything in soccer, but also like the human game is like so important when you're spending that many hours with like teammates and like you get to know everyone's moods so well. If you know what I mean. So like if you always like try to be like look forward to it and like and to the point that you really get revved up and then you sort of get out there and you're like, oh yeah, this is what you're going to do. And so like the days that you're off, you'll realise it and other people realise it, and then there's that one person that will like put you in line or like be like, look, come on, we want Grumpy Dog go today. And you sort of like switch. Like it's like yep, like you're right. Like
that's interesting. Cause a lot of people struggle to tell their teammates to wake up, lift your game. They don't want to offend or they don't want to make
make waves in the.
We actually had we've had this massive talk about that stuff because we've seen so many hours together, and we're pretty much like I've been there for 2 years now, so I've seen everyone on my team every day for 2 years, apart from like obviously holidays. But we have this thing about the zones. So there's the green zone, the blue zone, red zone. And if you want to be in green, the blue is rather like sleepy, not alert, not switched on, but the red is like pissed off.
So you define what zone you're in with you wear a badge. I'm in a green zone. Like is that how you?
So that's sort of like we like had this massive talk with our whole team, and we were like, when do you think you're in the red zone? Like when do you feel like or like what's the sign that you're in the blue zone? Like just like stuff like that, and it's sort of also we sort of talk a lot about the psychology behind get what you have to do to get out of that yourself, and like take your own like accountability and then what your teammates can do to help out. And so I learned that from our assistant coach.
So your teammates say, Gabby, you're in blue today. Is that what they'll say to you, or you just realise it? They'll see it like where's that green?
And so it's called out. I think what's really cool is that we had a chat to Jenna McCormick a couple of weeks back now, and she mentioned the same thing for what happened with their team, the Crows team. They have a very strong bond where they also will call out when they see people who are not putting the game up, and you're standing up in team meetings, I think she was saying as well. And I think that type of atmosphere, you see it in through like high level, extremely high level, all the way down through to bottom level, the teams that have those bonds where you can say, hey, you've been a dick, or you're a bit shitty, or how can we help you, all the way through to that was really good stuff. Having that communication and that like honesty is what I think separates top like high performing teams from just teams, from the has-beens.
I think that's just like, and then like from that it just goes into like team chemistry, and like I think, and that's when you see it on the pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you know each other's players.
Yeah.
And it's I like obviously like growing up I've always had like best I was like training for girls every day and stuff. But I've always liked to have my school friends. And then going to college, it's sort of cool to sort of spend every day with your best friends.
Yeah.
Like, because like I don't know that many people in America. But like I go in and I'm like, well, you guys know me the most. So like,
we wanna really get onto the college system. We'll do that after this short break. Welcome back to the Murph Mitise show. We've just had our little download break. Before we left, we were talking about the college system, and we just got on to you going to college and your thoughts about being there, and it's the differences and what you like. So that, like, obviously you're spending now like 100% of your time with your teammates. You know,
definitely.
What is a typical week or typical month of college like for you in regards to how many hours you're studying, how many hours you're training, how many hours you're playing and travelling? What does a day look like? Like, can you just run us through that to give us a bit more of an idea for those of us who haven't gone and haven't really talked to someone who's in that system more about that? Like, run us through what that would look like.
Sure thing. So pretty much, I'm in an NCAA Div 1 team. So that comes with a couple of rules in it. So in pre-season, I think pre-season you're allowed more than 20 hours of contact with coaches.
Okay.
And in season, you're only supposed to have 20 hours of contact with coaches.
A week.
Is
that including strengthening and
yes.
and technical?
Yeah, so that's include meetings, strength tests, and it sometimes sounds a lot and sometimes doesn't. But when we're traveling and stuff, those hours aren't counted.
Okay.
So if we're traveling for games, there's certain hours that aren't counted for that.
Yep.
Another thing that we do have to have, which just sort of goes with our schedule, is that we're supposed to have one official off day, and that's because we're students.
Okay.
We're student athletes.
And as is said in Coach Carter, student comes first.
That's what
student first
President
athletes.
President our president. That's exactly what he says.
Okay. Murph disagrees.
Student first, yeah.
Yeah.
And so pretty much like my usual day in season. So my coaches are really good at
Let's keep you going. Sorry.
So my coaches are really they're really smart with like training and the load and like stuff like that. So usually we'll have the Monday off because that's our one day that we get off a week.
Yep.
Tuesday we'll have Tuesday morning lift with a afternoon conditioning. Like
which is sort of a lift is a gym.
It's all called lift is gym. Yeah.
Bring it back in Australia right now. Just pretend we don't.
Sorry,
I'm
good with that.
You're good with
all
that.
the boys call it lift. They don't call it gym.
Okay.
This is a gym.
Get up.
Yeah. This
They
is
call
the
this
gym, and that's the
We're
lift.
going to the gym. It's this.
Okay.
We're going to lift. It's the gym.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm keep up.
American lingo.
Yeah. And then so usually we'll have our hardest training on the Tuesday or the Wednesday of the week.
So double session Tuesday.
Yeah. And
Wednesday
then
double session as well.
Wednesday we had a technical in the morning, so that was a lighter like that. So that was always a 7:30 start, which got to get that brain ticking for that. So it was just an hour session, and that was literally just doing repetition,
Ball work.
Of ball work.
Okay.
So that's doing crosses, doing crosses, long balls, really short balls, shooting, and it was almost like like a circuit sort of thing.
Okay.
So you got to sort of work on everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, so we added that into our season last season, and that was really good. Like, because you can sort of compare Wednesday to Wednesday from like how sharp you feel.
Okay.
And like in like technique wise, but also, so sometimes like we'd have like depending on when our game was, like so like sometimes we wouldn't even have a really hard session, and our hard session would be
as in during the week or
during the week.
Okay.
Yeah, because like sometimes our game would be our massive session, and because also in America you play 2 games a weekend, so it's not. Even, so we'll play, my coaches have really done our schedule really well, and so looking at the season that we're going into, we have most Thursday and Sunday games, meaning we have maximum recovery between each. Sometimes we have a Friday and a Sunday game, which is obviously less recovery. So pretty much, we'll have a technical session on a Wednesday morning with an afternoon, like normal session. And then,
Thursday morning
and then
before the games.
So on game days we have priming sessions.
Priming sessions on game days.
Yes.
Oh,
What's a priming session?
A priming session is we go through a circuit, and they're small bursts of stuff. So one, I think there's 5 different stations. One station is you do 1 sprint for 15 meters. 15.
Okay.
And then you walk back and you do 3 of them.
So central nervous system priming.
Yeah. That is exactly what we're
That's why I got excited. I was like,
Cool.
I do this with my girls
and then
on Fridays.
and then the next session you'll do, so the next circuit will be like core activation. The next circuit will be
Don't tell me to do sit-ups.
jumping.
What's core activation?
Core activation.
Leg
It's
raises.
leg raises, yeah.
Sit-ups.
It's leg raises, so up and down, but can't touch the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't do much. I think you do 5 of them,
Okay.
and then you do jumping over hurdles, and then the next one is do energy jumps.
What's an energy jump?
Like a power jump.
Okay,
Just
like
up.
a broad jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, up though.
Okay.
Yeah, like a up. Like,
Just jump up high.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but you sort of you get low and then you go up.
Yeah.
Like
The maximum energy.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
On it.
And then the other one's a plank. And
Okay.
then so that's the circuit that we do.
And so that might take what, 20 minutes?
That's a 20-minute.
And how long
thing.
before game time
So
is this?
So pretty much then, like our game day schedule is that's probably we'll have that at like 10 o'clock. And then if we have a 4 o'clock game, then we'll have our pre-game meal at 1:30. I think or 2:30. It's like 2. I think it's 2.5 hours before.
Okay.
So I think it's usually about 4 hours. Usually we have an hour and a half in between priming and pre-game.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so we always have a pre-game meal, which is like something like
As a team.
Yeah, as a team.
Yep.
And so like that, like this stuff is stuff that you're like, oh, I'm so spoiled. Like you are.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you get also a pre-game meal, and then you obviously have the game, and then the next morning we'll always have a recovery session. Half the team will do recovery, half try to, and then the other people who didn't play over a certain amount of time, have like running and
So
stuff.
they make their so basically those that don't play make their load up.
Yeah,
to keep,
exactly.
To keep their
So everyone's on the
consistent.
same. Yeah.
The recovery session, what would that involve? Would that is like beaches or
we,
water?
Yeah, we've got the pool. So like,
Yep.
because we have social facilities, usually half of them will go to the pool, or we'll jog.
Yep.
So or we'll just do like really, I think we'll do like 5 really slow jogs, and then we roll out. So pretty much at the end of the session, or we'll go to the gym and we'll just all get on the bikes and have our legs ticking for 20 minutes. So yeah, and then we all come back together before, and we'll watch it. We'll roll it out, and the girls will finish up, and then we'll stretch together.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. So it sort of just changes.
Yeah.
That. And then that's a Sunday. That would be the Monday, I think, or something like that.
Was
So like
Monday the day
sometimes,
off?
yeah. So like that's the thing that it changes
Depending
on
on.
your schedule. Yeah.
Okay.
So like sometimes we would do that as a team without the coaches.
So is this the first game? So this is like the Thursday night game. You recovery on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Then you train Friday night or Saturday morning.
So we would do stuff like recovery on Saturday morning, and then we do and then we would. I don't think we would have a training and we rest the Saturday.
Oh, for a Friday Sunday split.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was talking Thursday Sunday, but Friday Sunday split. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, now I've confused you. Yeah.
Thursday Sunday is this year coming.
Yeah.
Friday Sunday was the usual split last year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We good.
So then we would have a training session on the Thursday, and then you do rest on the Saturday still.
Yep. Yeah, and then you play again on Sunday.
Yeah.
You do another priming session on Sunday.
Yes.
Yep.
Whenever we have a game, we do a priming session.
Yeah. So priming sessions, the literature lately, April was the last time I read up on priming sessions, can have an effect from 24 to 48 hours of heightened boost.
Is that right?
The nervous system.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to Dan Meehan, who's the head S&C for Brooklyn Nets in the NBA. He takes priming sessions about 2 hours before tip-off.
Okay, yep.
And it wouldn't be big, it'd be like heavy.
Yeah.
But, 3
It'd be
reps,
interesting.
4 reps, couple sets.
I find it interesting to see how soon and like fatigue levels and whatever. So, you know what I mean? So like if you're doing 2 rep heavy lift, right? You can do a 2 rep heavy lift, say 80% maximum, right? Quality, bang bang, and they get done. There's no fatigue, But then how soon? What's this rate like? So I would normally do my primary sessions with the girls from 7 till 9 a.m. Then they have the day in the morning for a game at 6. To give them. For the reason I do that is because I still feel that they might want to have that, like, this one's like a mental recovery.
Yeah.
Like, I trained this morning, so they're not really going to, so I was wondering, that was like 2 hours beforehand, I'd feel like they wouldn't mentally feel they're recovered.
Yeah.
From a placebo effect.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why it's always good.
Yeah, you got.
That's why it is good for us, is that we do have that gap in between. I think it's 2 hours in between our pre-game and our.
When you said pre-game, you're talking the primary session.
No, the pre-meal.
The pre-meal. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So like stuff like that changes. So and pretty much it is hard having the one day off. Like,
I'm writing notes.
So it is hard having the one day off that you need to have.
Yep.
With the coaches and stuff.
Mentally?
No, it's great. No, as in like recovery wise.
Okay.
So then we'll have to all sort of make sure we're doing the right thing, looking after our bodies ourselves. Because they're not allowed to sort of intervene in that sense. So then, that's just sort of when you call them the captains and sort of And I actually feel like the captains have in a college team have a lot of responsibility. And
I feel like that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way it should be in any team.
But I think because
that's why they're the captain.
That's why they're the captain.
Yeah, no, definitely. Even like with the United teams and stuff, I think because it's obviously not full time. It is full time to some extent. It's very different, different dynamic.
It's on the street, never talk about it.
Yeah. In college, like anyone messes up, it's like, well, captain, what are you gonna do about it?
So captain acts as like enforcer, counsellor, director.
I've never learned so much about like leaders through going through the round of like captains that we've had and different ways that they've led.
How many captains have you had?
We've had, so I've been there for 2 seasons, and I've had 2 lots of captains. So
two. When you say 2 seasons, is that 2 seasons of fall and 2 seasons of summer or spring?
So I've had 4 semesters now.
Yep.
So 4 semesters.
1 captain.
2 full season captains.
Okay.
So, and so we had one. For the first year, we had 3 leadership captains, and they're all very different. One was Grace. Her name was Gracie, and she would just work, like
In
Herself or the team?
Yeah,
in herself. Like, she was the hardest working,
leads by example
runner-wise.
kind of
Yeah,
captain. Yeah.
Like one of them.
Creaky sort of.
And then sort of more like a rowdy, like louder, like, you know.
Creaky.
She would always supply the, you know, I want to be at training.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the, I'm great to be out here, like, you know, that enthusiasm. And then we had another captain, Kathy Hill, and she was a Scottish international. She's from Scotland, and she was the hothead, the one that, you know, set the tone to training, I call it. And then we had another one, our third one. Her name was Jackie Stroud, and she was just like sensational, like as a player.
Okay.
More like not as loud, but like very just attracted respect.
Okay.
Like,
more that mum figure than a dominating.
But not a nurturing way,
Okay.
like more of a reaffirming way.
Okay.
Like, so there was this one time that we were all it was actually the season after, because she was captained 2 years, and then she co-captained with another girl called Dee. And Dee's are similar to Gracie, in the sense, just, you know, really really hard working and always like setting the tone. She set the tone too, which is a bit different to Gracie. Anyway, but then this one time we're in a room and it was a pre-game, and it was like, who do you depend on? Like who like, you know, like in this team, who do you depend on? Anyway, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, who do you make accountable? I'm like, I make myself accountable, you know. And obviously I'm the last in the room, as it always happens. Anyway, and so the team goes around and they go, Jackie, gets Jackie, myself. Anyway.
Gabby was Gabby. Jackie.
That was what would happen. Anyway.
Did you feel compelled to say Jackie?
No,
Okay.
I didn't. In a way, like, I was sort of frustrated. Like, you know, that all, like, I think it was a great thing, but I was like, there's obviously, like, these people, like, I was like, this team needs to.
You're more of the mindset they have to be accountable to themselves.
And I think that's just like how I've grown up, and sort of just, you know. Anyway, and then the coach stops them before they even get to me, because I you know, not one to sort of like, I wouldn't say Jackie because they said Jackie, but it would have like, everyone probably would have laughed.
Ripped the shirt off, just like Gabby just went there. Like.
Anyway, it was sort of, I was sort of sitting there, I was like, sort of like, there's this like frustration in like my like feelings. I was like, maybe this is like this is a problem. Like, you know, but like.
You were thinking this?
Yeah,
okay.
Like, because I'm thinking like, you can't rely on someone that much, like, you know, and Jack, like it is a complete testament to Jackie, who was just such. She was a centre back, just could read the game.
Who did Jackie say? Did Jackie say Jackie?
Jackie said Jackie.
Jackie said Jackie. Yes.
Exactly. It was like
yeah. So you thought this was a problem?
Yeah, I did.
The coach just stopped it before it got to you.
Yeah.
What happened?
And then she was like, "See, this here, like, you know, like, we know we love Jackie. We know we can depend on Jackie. But when are you going to start depending on yourselves as a team? Like, you know, when you
pioneer that. Damn it.
I know, it was so anyway. And also, like, when is everyone else going to step up? So someone else can be like, you know, the other person.
Yeah.
Who's like, who do you play closest to on the field?
Yeah.
You know, like, who do you pass the most balls to? Who do you receive the most balls from? Because, like, you know, Jackie's stopping a lot of balls, but, like, how many balls are you hitting? Like, you know.
On that note, the first game of our season this year, so I'm nowhere near professional standard level. I'm just happy Saturday games, right? But on the first game of our this year, I'm the captain, and what I had done is I got all the boys to wear a like strapping tape.
Yeah.
Alright, once a team was announced, what they did is they wrote down the two guys that played next to them, right? So you play with the striker, you've got the next two guys here, this guy plays this guy here, there's a little speech about, you know, we're playing for those guys closest to us. And then everybody's got everyone closest to us, it's the same thing. You know, so you can't just depend on your centre back when you're actually playing in midfield. You're actually playing up front. You know, you gotta know. Yes, you've got that like spiritual leader, or you've got that like decisive leader, but that's just one element of the team.
Yeah,
you know, and it has to be that.
And and that's what like you know, in some of like the reading I've done.
I got that from Chantal Ryder, so thanks Chance for that one.
I like that. I think that's something that like we could definitely use.
If you do it, can you send me a photo? Can you send us a photo of you doing it?
No, like because like something like that, like you know, cause you brainstorm all this stuff all the time. You're like, how do I fix that? Like you know, and like, that would be you know a way. And I think also in college it's really hard because you are separated in year levels into such that it's really distinct. You know, like who's getting more playing time, like what year are they, like you know, like just you know silly stuff like that shouldn't matter and has never mattered before I got to college.
Oh, it never mattered to you before you went to college?
Or never mattered in teams that I was part of. You know, in Adelaide United, it was sort of just like didn't really matter how young you were. Like,
but is that also because you've gone now into almost like a hierarchical society?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you've gone into that rather than anything where everyone's chosen else.
And there's also like a big thing about like so in our team, the freshmen do a lot. Like the first years, they do a lot because every year you come through and do your same part, whatever. And I'm always conflicted into how teams work in this way because personally, I'm a person that doesn't matter if you're a senior, doesn't matter how good you are, you're never too good to pick up the cones or do the most.
Sweep the change rooms.
Yeah,
sweep the change rooms.
That's what I'm reading about in my book too. Anyway.
Yeah. It's that's
the legacy, yeah.
So basically in the book you're talking about the All Blacks, alright? And that's what the book's about. And it's after they won the World Cup in, I can't remember the year 2007 or something, whatever the year they won the World Cup, they were in the chambers afterwards and they didn't name them, did they? It was 2 or 3 of the guys, the senior guys. Everyone had left, all the press had left, the family left, the other team had left, and they were there sweeping the chambers up, cleaning up, almost like you seen the photo from Japan?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Japan just stole that legacy, right?
It didn't matter they lost, it was like they're going to look after.
Yeah, but this is like, so this is basically, you're not too good to do that, the small stuff. And to know, you know, no one's above that. You have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but I try and bring that into the gym with the girls, every girl I've had, about picking up your own weights.
Yeah.
You know?
This is actually exact same thing downstairs here. So we've got a lounge area downstairs in there with the Sixers area. And there was a DP, just put his dishes down, so development player, just put his dishes down and walked away. And Creaky went up and started washing all the dishes. And Creaky was Mitch Creek was one of our better players. Unfortunately not with us anymore, but very well respected in the NBL community. One of the better players in the NBL, started washing our dishes. And the DP turns around and says, "What are you doing?" And you don't have to do that. There's someone else who will do it. He goes, "It's my team. It's my stadium. I've got to do something for it."
Exactly.
You know? I'm not too good to wash dishes.
You know about that.
Exactly.
Same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Why it's like so important about the things that your leadership team implements into a team. Like, you know, like how they're going to teach lessons and how they're going to learn lessons and how you're going to get a response from other people.
How have your leadership teams done that for you if you had to break them down? Could you say like with what Jackie's done and then what Kathy was done?
I think that getting a really good mixture is like always so important, and that's what like you always do. Like we just got a new set of captains now, and one is her name's Dee, and she's just coming back from an ACL injury. But like she is just such a big support, and she's a person who you know gets angry at herself because she expects so much of herself, you know, and then she'll put that on other people. Like no, she will have the same expectation for other people.
Everyone knows Dee hasn't made it.
Okay. She put that expectation on other people, and then you respect her for it. And then another captain, Talia, she's more of a she will captain by example. If you know what I mean, like she's always the most switched on and focused at training. Like, you know, if you're not doing something right, or if, you know, in a corner, you are not in the right position, she'll tell you. If you know what I mean? Like, she's very much like, straightforward and she's alert. She'll pick up on it, you know, and she'll make sure she'll make sure you know in the right way. And then our other captain is Kira, and she's more of a she's similar to Talia in the sense that she's very much she's more of a more personable, and she is more of a person who give the commands and be like, this is what we're going to expect today, guys. And she'll say it before, and then see if that happens, and then she'll go back to after and be like, did we do this? You know, just stuff like that. And so it'll be interesting to see how it goes this season, with getting the team in the right mindset, and definitely because they're definitely a very different wave to our last captains. So,
what leadership style do you work best to? How would a captain or captains get the most out of you?
I don't know, I think when you go back to honesty, I think that's definitely important. You know, but support also. I know for me, D has just been a very, very big support for me, for the last 2 years. Always just checking in off the field, and sort of you know, doing the extra stuff, and for a leader responding to me is when they set the example, and they because they're setting such an example, they expect that example from you, and so that's with our captain Jackie, and also I think one of my favourite moments of the season was after a game. She came up to me specifically, and she was like, "What do you think happened in that game?" You know, and for me, the captain came up to me and you know wanted my insight.
Was that a win or loss?
It was a loss. It was a loss. Yeah. Anyway, and that really fueled my motivation.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It was like a recognition.
Yeah. Exactly. So just little stuff like that. I think when you really respect a certain players, you want to earn their respect, respect back. And I think with when you come into a team and stuff like that, earning someone's respect and then having it and then gaining it and then never being complacent with it is probably one of the best ways to captain a team. If you know what I mean?
And that's exactly the same for coaching too, isn't it?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, and I really do think relationships between coaches and captains are very similar.
One of the questions I wrote down on here is, what do you look for in coaches? What do you look for in coaches that would enable you to become the best player you can be? You know, I think you said honesty is one of them. I would assume. You know, you said Ross was a great coach, and those guys. So you would have had great coaches, and then you would have had the opposite end of the spectrum as well. What do you see as the difference between those? So if you were talking to a coaching panel from, let's say, MPL, right, and that they need to know from a playing perspective what they need to be to get to the great coaching status, what would that be for you?
I think an open door policy. Always. I think you know game time is always a massive thing. You know how you want to develop and talking about whether you've developed and you know. Just stuff like that, and also understanding a coach's philosophy. So I'm okay to lose games, but I need to understand why and the technical side of the formation being played, and coaching accountability also. So I remember once, which is why Ross is one of my most respected coaches that I've already had, is once. You know, we set up us for a game, went in this game plan, and we lost. I think we got bashed. I think actually it was 2-4 or something. So I think we were up first, and then then we lost. And he came in after the game, and we were all shattered. We were so sad. And he goes, "I want to apologise because this is my fault. From my full knowledge and philosophy, I didn't play the right cards today, and we you know, we like it sort of tingled because he took that like accountability and whatnot, and that sort of made you respect him even more.
Yeah.
And then also, I think like, you know, for someone who's just so passionate about their philosophy, and for them to be like, something went wrong today, and I'm gonna say that it went wrong today. Like it wasn't you. You ran, you tackled, you did everything you could. You know, you did everything I said for you to do, and for like him to come back, look at it as in a whole scheme, and then the next day we were all on the same page. You know what I mean? And then like that's just one scenario, and then you know another time like you know it was our fault and he told us, but it's the honesty system.
Yep. That balance between the two.
Exactly.
It's
So
not
like,
always one person's or one side's fault. It's you can realise that this is on me, but no, this is on you now.
Yeah.
You've got to take responsibility.
Exactly, and because like football perspective is just like everything, like how games are played, when things go right, when things go wrong. Like it's very hard to sort of step back and break down the real truths and sort of not getting up on a certain player, like, you know, because you want them to be the mistake when they're not necessarily, like, so you have a cause. Like, I think, like, going around that is just, like, something like that. And that's, like, so, like, with my coach now, which is, like, something really good, like, I feel like, we have quite an open door policy. You know, that we can sort of go in and talk about, like, what I'm working on, or about, like, you know, what can I do to sort of, to get more game time, or, you know, what, like, you know, like how am I a different player, and like how can I to other, because that's the other thing, so I'm a very different player to like a lot of the other players in my team, and so some games she just doesn't need my certain playing style. You know what I mean? So like if I don't play as much, or if I don't play at all, or whatever, for that door to be open,
conveying that to you as sort of why,
exactly,
rather than just ignoring it.
Yeah, and because like so much, especially with girls, is all about confidence and fueling their confidence.
Dude, it's like huge.
So it's exactly it's like it's one of the biggest things.
You cannot train girls the way you train guys.
No, you can't.
Coach girls.
And that was like with when Ross came in, and with Paul, is that we saw changes and like progressions into how things change like that. And because we were girls, and because we were young girls, and there was actually a massive jump between W League and then we went to NTC, and then. Hang
on, when you said jump, you played W League.
So as in not a massive jump, but as in like when we were with all the girl, like with the W League, and then we went down to NTC like for the off season, and Ross was coach of both, Ross and Paul. That there was a step back a little bit, and then it slowly like came back, like, you know what I mean? But to sort of get into a learning environment where you can make risks and like whatnot. And that's also like something that I think is so important in any learning environment with coaches, is that they need to make it in an environment where you can make mistakes and learn from them and not be scared to make them. Which is why that when you're fortunate enough to make that field, that you can't like sort of psych yourself up about because the thing about like, you know, you're working so hard for so long, but you know you're not getting much opportunity. And so I learned that in my first year. He came and it was like, well, I've got my opportunity, I'm gonna blow it. But like, you can't physically go into a game thinking that. So that was like another sort of learning step for me. Was like, you know, at my time, now I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yes.
And that like.
But you're also gonna keep earning it.
And
you're also gonna keep. earning
exactly.
It.
But it's a different like mindset into saying, I've taken so long for me to get here. That you know, it better work. you know, like it's saying, you know, I got myself here. I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna make like, you know.
Jackie didn't get me here.
Gabby got me.
Gabby got Gabby there.
And no, just like little stuff like that. Like I don't know. Like that's just like the season cycles that sort of are great to sort of go like, you know, go on. And that's like why like, you know, I'm at college to sort of go through those cycles and, you know, keep expanding my knowledge of the game and knowledge of how to like sort of, you know, deal with the cards that I've been given and do the most of them. So
yeah, we're back. We're on.
We're back. We're good. So obviously, me being a basketball fanatic, I follow Aussie basketball, obviously, American basketball, and I know a bit about college basketball. I want to know how different or similar the college basketball and college soccer or football are. Football in America is NFL, so they call it soccer.
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 Yeah.
So the big thing in college basketball at the moment is the whole one and done. Going to college, leaving college after the first year to go into the NBA, obviously for money. It's all money reasons. Also in high school and college basketball is media attention all over the place, 24/7. Everyone wants to have a look at these players, especially the stars. The other big thing is money, or the lack of money, the lack of money for players, but the amount of money that the colleges are earning because of the players. Where does that fit into soccer side of things?
Soccer-wise? Well, I know that in America they do have like the rules of if you give a girls' team a certain amount, you need to give equivalent to the boys.
Okay. A certain amount of what?
So like scholarship money.
Okay.
And whatnot. But the thing about it is that so there's a massive debate, like should college athletes be paid if they're bringing in the amount of numbers and revenue they are.
Yep.
And, then like there's like all terms of fair, like when you're on a full ride, like
when you say full ride, you mean
is like when you have like accommodation paid for, food paid for, and
so you don't pay for anything yourself.
Yeah, like when like certain players are like on certain things, like and so like that pretty much means they're like looked after, and then but there's like so obviously if they're going pro, there's a massive difference between what they're earning. But in saying that, like there's such a push for education in college as well. Like what is so great about it, if you know what I mean? Like there's such a push for people to apply themselves and the student and the athlete. The tragedies are if players playing college that could potentially be NBA players and then they do massive injuries and then they never make it, stuff like that.
Do you get the same attention in soccer from the soccer world as the
boys?
Basketball would do in the NBA world?
Not at all. But that's just because of the stage that my team is at in ranking, and the fact that we are a women's team. So if I was to make any comparisons, it would be with maybe some of the attention that the boys have that the girls don't. That's also got to do with titles that you win and quality of the team, games and stuff. So for the basketball, we do get quite a lot of numbers in our gym, and they have it's equivalent to this gym. That is at our school.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have one of those screens that comes down like an NBA. You just go there. It's just phenomenal. It's crazy. And then you're sort of thinking then they're college players. They're still making those mistakes, and they're sitting in a basket, and they have bad games, good games.
Really. Yeah,
exactly. And so from the level that there are some great players in my team, whatever. But you sort of do see that learning curve still, and you sort of do see that they're not NBA players yet.
Do you find it fair, from your point of view in soccer, female soccer, that you're not getting any financial reward when your college does? Do you see anything like that at all, or is it that I've got this opportunity, it's great, I'm gonna just be happy with that where I am?
Well, I think for me, coming from Australia and not having that opportunity here, and as to going over there, getting my education was really important to me, and sort of being able to live the lifestyle I did was really important to me. And so for me, for that reason, I'm not getting paid over there. I'm on some scholarship, but I'm there because I want to do both, not because I want to make money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think the importance of education is why college works so well. And like, you know, and that's what we say, that you're a student before you're an athlete.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And like just setting up because like when you think of the grand scheme of things, like yeah, they're bringing heaps of money in, and yeah, they want to go pro, and they, you know, and the amount of players that don't go pro, they don't do that, but then yeah, they've got this education behind them now.
Yeah, they got something to plan B.
Exactly.
College is like almost like provides the vehicle, right? Where, you know, if you do go pro, you've still got your education there. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing there. Rather than it being like, compared to what I was saying before, is that what I was going to say compared to here, where you're given nothing. You know,
exactly.
It's almost like a time for service, like cash for services. Like
that's it.
You're not paid, but you're on like 50 grand over 4 years. You get all your food paid for, your accommodation paid for, high level coaching. You know.
From what Drumming says, they ask for something and it's done.
Yeah.
I need new shoes. Next day, here's new shoes.
Yeah.
So I guess because I just hear about this whole not getting paid thing. I don't know firsthand, obviously.
But they get looked after, like especially
in another way.
especially in NBA teams, in college football, college basketball teams that are smaller, they're smaller in numbers and stuff. You know, and they get like food coupons and like, you know, stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
You get your bonuses.
So, yeah, pretty much like you're in the car and you got the fuel, like, you know. You don't have to fill up because they're filling you up.
Yeah, right.
So
as you said, services.
It's a services thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And also like I think there is a whole lot of like in that culture, as in like building to the top. So when you do get there, you learn to you know. And I think like it's sort of like a rite of passage. Like, you know, you go back to look at the great, and there's some great players that peaked in their college. You know, like, and it was because, you know, the coaches that I had and stuff, and
you know, because of college coaches as well.
Also because of how well they were looked after, and that, like, you know, and that they had that time to grow, and they did. And then maybe when they went out of NBA, you know, they were given all this money, and they were given all this, you know, privilege and responsibility, and they were like sort of felt like they didn't earn as much.
Money can almost cause complacency.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're that young and you have that, you're given that much, it's like, you know.
Well,
I'm not saying you should earn it.
4 mil for 2 years, something like 15 mil a year. 19 years old. Yeah, some good money.
My other question with college is, so after talking to the boys like Anthony Drumick, Sobi, Hodgie, they say that the idea of college is to get, pardon my French, fucking smashed. Like, their coaches don't care about health too much. They just want to destroy you because they're about wins.
Does that depend on what college you go to, though?
Yeah,
it could be that.
It depends on your coach.
Yeah.
It definitely, because we've had some we've had some hard sessions, but I would like to say our coaches, they're very professional in the way that they look after us.
So I follow a lot of college coaches on like my socials.
And that's what the 20-hour rule is supposed to protect us from.
Yeah.
They were saying they don't. They follow it.
Some of them.
But then they go, it's up to you if you want to come to training or not.
Also, we're talking.
You need to be.
We're talking
guilt trips.
Yeah.
Lots of guilt tripping.
Yeah, and because one of my questions was going to be on the standard of coaching then. So whether you're going to get coaches that are bad in or that type of hard ass military in every field, even here, right? You know these people. So
everyone's here, so
we know these people. So you're going to get it there. So from what you found personally, then, from coming here, coaching, training, what you've been provided with your career here so far, compared to what you get over in America, what are the major differences in coaching, the standards, and then also the training? Obviously, with strength coaches, so that's what we want to talk about.
So pretty much before when I left and I was training with you, it was I think we were doing three times a week, but then the level of intensity of training that I was doing wasn't as big.
With me?
No, as in training.
Mine was fine. Was mine fine?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, as in like so we were doing.
Perfect. It was
So we were doing good work in the gym, but I wasn't doing enough running with it.
correct. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Which is what we discussed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then so there it's out of like everything is sort of just so easy and accessible.
Yep.
So like here it's a lot harder to actually be able to get quality sessions and quality fitness sessions because it's not like even when I was in the United team, like they're not getting paid enough to do the amount of work they do.
The coaches are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like literally not getting paid for the hours. And so like a lot of it, and like a lot of the time that we had to improve was 5 kids going out there in an afternoon all our days off and having a kick,
Without coaches.
Yeah. And then so it was like so much harder to to get into shape and to be at that level to then take the next step. But for us, like we go back and we do a running, we do 5 weeks of running before season and before we even touch it, and then we do afternoon trainings led by our captains, and then we're lifting twice a week, and then we have a game, so like that preparation before we even get to our coaches is there, and like we're privileged to have the opportunity. So, and then in comparison to United, like you're just not doing enough hours to really make that next step.
How so? How would you
for me when I
because you're also in a different coaching structure because Ross has gone.
So for me when I was in year 12, pretty much I was playing for a boys team because I wanted to improve technically. So I went and played for a boys team. And I think that really did help with my I fastened up my game alertness. And then so I was training with them, and then I was training with NTC maybe once a week, and this was before I was involved with you. And then the next seasons, I think it was 6 months before I left. I was training with you and then just Adelaide United. So I wasn't, and then I'd been a part of the whole summer. I'd been a part of the Adelaide United team, but that finishes, and then you have nothing to sort of go on after. For the in between because you're too old to train with the under 18 national NTC team. There's not a bridge to sort of keep going. And I think the year after they sort of did something to sort of bridge it, but it's never at full force.
Not comparable intensities.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's and it's to the point that it's not enjoyable. Like I think that when you train, you want to be working on something, but you want to get that enjoyment of intensity and quality. And I just find that here, even in the United team, because you have such a mix of players, really, really young players and really, really old players, and which is great when you're young. You learn so much, but also when you don't have it's semi-pro, not pro. There's just a massive gap. Do
you think that's because it's not as popular? So I know soccer isn't a big Australian sport. Obviously, you got basketball is getting up there. I think it's a bit above soccer now. Football dominates everything clearly. Do you think it's because it's not as big? There's not as much money involved. Maybe it's a money thing more than anything else.
Yeah. I think it's literally just a slow developmental thing and having the right coaches. Enjoying training is just it's all dependent on the coach. You don't even have to like the coach, but you can still enjoy training.
Of course.
And and I think the coach has to be a quality coach for you to do that.
How do you find, or what have you found to be the differences in then strength training? So take away from what we've done, because it's private, not private, but private sector. Take away the strength training side of things from what you were doing here, whether there was a strength training program implemented when you were at United NDC, whatever, compared to now what you're doing?
So pretty much before I like did stuff with you, which was after United, which was just like in between, I had not done any strength work before.
Okay.
Like I was the first time I was doing like squats with you, and then also like when I was training with you, I wasn't having a high velocity of other training, like of running wise.
Yeah.
And you know, so when I got to America and we were just doing so many hours, but every hour counted. So like that's like what really like sort of changed my game as well, because I like really did become like a different player. And in the Australian League, I could get away with not being as fast for as long and like just stuff like that. But in America, it just
the pace is so much more.
Yeah, it was so much more, and also like I'm not gonna get a ball to feet as often. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to like really do a lot more, almost like to do So so pretty much like just like a whole lot of technique stuff. And I found that like since being in America, I've gotten a lot faster. Like my general like 20-meter sprint is a lot faster, like under like a lot more reps. And then that just like changed your game a lot. And
purely due to the run work you're doing, or combined with the gym?
I think it's to the gym stuff. Yeah.
But what does that involve?
So that in like
If you can tell us a
exercises,
little
it
bit.
is front squatting,
Yep.
it is hang cleaning, it is deadlifting, a lot of arm stuff, upper body is like we'll do chin ups,
Foundations, basically foundation strength.
pull downs, we'll do sleds just for like just general like full body workouts. And then you'll just do like, so pretty much we do it for 3 days a week in our off season, and then like 2 days a week.
3 days a week over like an hour each.
Yeah,
Okay.
always an hour, sometimes an hour 15, like
Yep.
it's supposed to be an hour. Anyway, and so and she'll just be like building your weights and like so getting stronger and stronger. And then for me, like, so in the last season, my numbers didn't go up.
What numbers?
Like, isn't like, so like, we do a lot of testing, and so my numbers for how heavy I could squat didn't go up, but my hang clean did, but like not significantly. But I've gotten a lot faster, meaning that I'm just I was in better shape, and I did feel stronger, if you know what I mean. But I was also leaner, and it's like things like that.
Did you like a body?
BMI?
Wait, no, no BMI.
Wrong word.
God damn it!
We don't do that anyway.
No, body weight to power ratios.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
so the weights haven't gone up, but you've lost weight, but physically, obviously power's gone up.
Your weight didn't go down.
Yeah. So
as in your lifting weight.
No, lifting weight didn't go down.
So your body weight went down, but your lifting weight maintained.
So your power weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we do these things called Sparta testing. And so it is test your load, your explode, and your drive. So pretty much when it's an injury prevention, and so all our programs are individually and like personified. So for when I first did my first Sparta test, my thing was very even, which is great.
So your load
wise.
and explode and your
drive
all
levels.
even. So what? Okay, so load is what you can squat or deadlift.
But yeah.
Explode is power, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What's
and then,
drive?
So pretty much like there's 3 different movements, and you do a standing jump in your Sparta test.
Okay.
And so it's like, I drive is when you go up.
Okay.
And then explode is how fast you up. Drive is how high you go up.
Okay.
And then load is like how deep you go, pretty much. Like,
okay.
Yeah. But from that, so then I was really even. So it was like, well, you need to, we just want to get your numbers up.
Okay.
So for injury wise, it was great. You know, like injury prevention wise, didn't need to do anything about that. But then I like just overall, it's like, well, we want to overall improve your numbers to then go from 46 to 50. You know, so the next time I think my explode, I was trying to improve. So my other 2 went up quite a lot, and then like explode with some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so then my
So you're
program.
So you're moving quicker and landing better, but not just not getting higher.
No, other way. So my drive was I was going higher, but I wasn't as fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
so explode is like explosive movements.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then my instead of squatting that I was doing before, my program was then tailored to doing more hang cleans and doing an overall body thing, and like I think that was a lot to do with core movement like that, and that had deadlifting still, so I was still getting a squatting movement. Anyway, so then that was what I was like working on like for like the last semester and stuff, and then throughout summer we just have generic stuff to do. So that's what we do when we're in season as well. Like on the first day we'll squat. No, sorry. The first day we'll hang clean. Next day we'll squat. You know, just pre-season. And then when we're in season, we'll hang clean light. Yeah. Yeah, like we don't. And then.
But you're still in the gym.
We're still doing stuff. Yeah.
In season.
Yeah, but we'll do it lighter.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people will just do recoveries. Like it really depends. Like, what you're doing and like what you're up to. But yeah.
So that's all monitored from.
Yeah.
The S&C staff or whatever.
Yeah, so that's so we have.
I feel like
we have a separate coach to all that stuff. So we have a separate Murph. His name's Eric.
A separate Murph.
Yeah.
The American Murph.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks a lot like you. Not gonna lie.
American Murph. Okay. Yeah. This is so good.
Do you know if that was that funny?
Hello, American Murph.
Keep talking.
Anyway, yeah, so he does our running with us as well in pre-season. So yeah, and then I don't know. Really, I've been doing the same thing, the same sort of stuff for 2 years. Just changes in consistency and like the load.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's lost in my ulcer. Like really American Murph. Because I find like over here we don't know what happens in American colleges.
Yeah.
We never know that. And it sounds like they also have a secret code, so we never find out what happens. Or, you know, but obviously you see American athletes.
Yeah.
Or American like trained athletes. So you separately come back in 2 more years, coming here and pretty much dominating what they do here. Yep. There's a reason teams are looking at American soccer players, like female soccer players, and bring them over because it is the best league in the world. You know, so obviously there's something happening from a young level. We've talked this before. Is that there's something happening from a high school to a college to a semi-pro to a pro level that's not happening here.
Another thing is that high school soccer is big in America as well.
High
so a lot of
sport in general, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So like a lot of my teammates, they played high school. Like they didn't play club, they played high school. Like and they played club. Yep. But like they found success in their high school, and like they sort of go back to their high school coaches and stuff. And like I think maybe like I don't know much about the coaching of at the high school level, but it's probably not as professional. But they have the facilities and they're always training and stuff. And also for a perspective for you guys is that lift is like a class that they take in high school that they can start in earlier. So like one of my best mates, she is like strong, and like she came in like she's my height and she can squat 230 pounds, which
What's
is like
that? That's a very good 100
kilos.
Yeah, 100 kilos.
Anyway, and it was just for my height. Anyway, she's just so strong and like arms so strong. Anyway, and she's been lifting since year 9. Like like she's been consecutively lifting for that long. Like and like trying to catch up. But,
well, exactly. But you also have a genetic point where if you're lifting behind there, then you hit that and keep going. You're never going to be able to catch up.
Yeah.
Like there's a genetic point at which
they've
already got the head start, and it's just going to go from there. We're talking to Sydney Wright about what they do at Henry Height, and they have a similar. I'm imagining it's a lift class that they have there. From what Sid was saying.
Well, it was basketball.
Her sport was basketball. Yeah.
So they just play basketball.
But they have a sports program.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a guy there that that ran it? I thought there was a guy
Well, see,
there.
what
Was that another school?
What I've like
I swear I
learned,
thought- I swear it was
what
another.
I've learned is that like gym is so important, and obviously it's like, so important to start young. So when I wish I was doing that stuff at 14, 13, and not like lifting heavy, but like for a girl and for me, like growing up and going through puberty and stuff, and not necessarily having that muscle, I feel like that like sort of natural muscle. If I was doing that stuff early, then I just definitely would have benefited from it to get to the point to where I was now. And I definitely, for me, like I've never been an athletic player ever. Like even when I was in the young Tildas squad, like I was, I could read the game really well, and my ball skills were alright and good enough there, but I was never physically gonna be able to really stand out. And then the opportunity when you're physically there is so much bigger.
No, physical. I put a thing up on my socials a couple of weeks back, and all I said, what did I say? It was about fast players and strong players.
Yeah.
And I said fast players break, strong players won't.
That's
Yeah.
And that's it. And another thing that my coaches really like me, because like they're like you're so strong.
Can I take some credit?
Yeah.
I think I said the same thing as Sid, didn't I?
I think you did. You take Sid, I take Gab, we're good. Yeah, and I think that the whole thing about starting young, and even if you don't start young, like if we started when you were, I think we started when you were 18, 19. I think you just turned 18 that year that you started training, right? Yeah. Is that even if you don't start young, you can still get better than what you would have been if you had not done it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And this is especially for the girls, because guys are kind of ingrained in the gym culture.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
kind of ingrained in the gym culture,
Yeah, and also boys can just not do anything and then get into shape really fast. It just doesn't happen with girls. Like,
exactly. And girls actually
the
have
hormonal difference is a big factor.
Yeah,
exactly. Girls have to actually invest in that, like heaps.
Definitely.
So I think there's just so many. I feel like there's been so many takeaways from today. Like so much gold. Like, do you have any more questions? I think my things will be done. Oh no, I've got one more question, right? So it's like, what does your future hold then? So you go back to college on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Alright, so very soon.
So pretty much.
This will probably go up. Look, this I guarantee this will go up when you're back in college.
Okay.
Right.
Well, pretty much. So we have like a big season, and I'm gonna say it. We want to ring conference rings this season.
Do you want some rings? How many rings could you win potentially?
Well, we're two more seasons left, and pretty much we're hosting conference this year.
Okay.
And last year it was heartbreaking. Like we had built this team up to be so good, and we really made a massive step in the season before, and we got out first round. And it was like, it was this.
Ooh.
We were 1-0 up in half time, and then it was 2-0.
So you guys are like the Germany of the World Cup.
It was sad. It was. We had the best. Ranking we had in ever since we started. It always momentum, and then it just didn't go our way. Yeah. And I think we all sort of took that.
I still feel it.
Murph knows the heartbreak. So
it is sport. Yeah, we sort of took that and took a breath and said we don't want to be here ever again. So, anyway, so that's that, and then
heading back to win some rings.
Win some rings. Yeah.
Will you be back in the summertime?
So I think this year I'm thinking for next year I'm hoping to play in the summer league over there. In like North Carolina. So a friend there, Tessa Calabria.
Tess.
So she is there this summer. And I wasn't aware you could do stuff like that. So if I had the opportunity to do that before senior year, I would love that. Like, just absolutely think like that would just be such a good opportunity.
Which means you wouldn't be back here in December.
No, so that's a year's time. So that's
so next year, so you wouldn't be back here next year. Yeah. So with a Skype chat next year. And you just have a little computer, and then
And Christmas is like, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm coming back. Not sure yet. We only get 3 weeks off, so it's it's a long plane ride.
It's a long plane ride. Yeah.
We'll see.
And then so once you finish college,
Finish college.
you're gonna work in a museum. That's what I picked up before.
See, that's the thing. Like, it really depends. Like, you know, like going away, it was sort of like because I wanted to come back and then play W League and sort of get some good minutes and sort of really enjoy all the hard work that I've done. And I still do want to do that. Like, big aspirations to sort of get that done. But it just depends if I'm in the right mindset for it. After doing 4 years and whatnot. And then also it depends what facilities are here and stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna put it out there. I've been a Richmond Tigers fan for a long time.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna go play for the Tigers.
If I was ever good enough, I would not take the opportunity
to play for the Tigers. So another cross-code change, basketball to soccer.
Well,
to footy.
I did play. I played when I was younger. I played with the boys a lot. Like I never played. I did like Oz kick and stuff. Like it was just like I loved soccer, but like I would watch footy. You know what I mean? Like I would watch every game with Dad and like stuff like that. And like I don't know, and for, like to be a Tiger, it would before I even knew soccer existed. Like I grew up with football, and like that was always like my dream. Yeah. So
if Richmond basically put AFLW team in.
Yeah,
you could see Gabby.
I'd move. And like in saying that, I'd have to be good enough. So like I'd have to probably play a couple of seasons in a good league. And stuff. But I actually went out to a when I was working with you, just before I moved, I went to a AFL draft day.
You did.
Yeah, and so I went out and we just just did the physicals, like we did the beep test, the sprints, did that. And I went really well in it. Like it was, and then that was the morning, and in the afternoon we went out and kicked the footy or whatever, and I loved it. Like, I reckon I came in the next day and I wouldn't shut up about it to Josh. I was just like, oh my god.
Because then that's when Conte said she was going to play footy.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I'm 50.
Yeah.
That's so funny, it's so true.
So did teams talk to you?
No, so that was just a draft day. Like that was...
it was like a trial colour.
It was literally any girl. Like this is before there was even a talk of there being this... so pretty much it was supposed to be 4 years away. Yeah. It was supposed to be 2020 when they were going to do it. Yeah, and so this was 2016
That's
at the
food.
time.
That's food. It's not boredom, it's food. It's breakfast time.
Anyway, and then after that they so then this was a day and like there was no opportunities that came out of it. Like literally there was some really I'm trying to think of the footballers' names now. I think there was like 3 really big AFL stars that ran. So they came from Melbourne, and like they were in Victorian League, which was obviously going quite well. And they ran it, and they like did this massive. It was just a massive day of learning and stuff. And I was like, I could do this, Jules. Like, and like because I played basketball, so I played basketball and netball and touch football. Like all throughout high school and stuff. Like I played basketball with my 3 best mates that are guys up until end of year 10, which is quite it was just in a church league, and I played for Norwood Flames for a little bit. And then I had to quit because I had started, I was doing state soccer. And
to make the decision.
It was literally, they had Sunday practices and I had Sunday games, it was like something like that.
Multi-sport athletes.
Anyway.
And then teams go.
Yeah, and anyway, I can't play basketball at all now.
Lost the skills.
Yeah, I actually go to the gym, and like one of my best mates when we were in dorms, we would like sneak into like the ODU training gym, which was just awesome. Like it had one of those it had one of those you shoot and the ball passes back to you. And it says like this massive netting or whatever, which I was such rebels in this like college gym, like and it was like having fun. Anyway, and then so for me like my hand-eye coordination's quite I don't know, like I've always just give me a ball with my hands and I'm just as good with my feet. so like just like we used to play European handball
Yep.
In high school. We had like tournaments of that and like just like touch and stuff. Yeah. So I think like it's a shame that the conversion didn't come earlier for me. But in saying that, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing with soccer. So
Exactly.
you know, yeah. And actually, I played a bit of Gaelic as well before I left.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What haven't you done?
Tennis. I hate tennis. It's so bad. Like that's the ongoing joke. Everyone's just like, don't give Gaby a tennis racket. Cricket, I could do. Cricket,
Yeah, right.
like I grew up like playing cricket in like you know with the boys and stuff, and like I can hit through that. I can do baseball. I can do a solid hit through a baseball softball. But tennis, you know what it is? It's the power weighting. It's like I can always get contact with it, but I always hit it too hard.
Because you're too strong.
And mine
Or I
goes
just
right
don't know
over
why.
the net. 2 suburbs away.
Yeah. I think, mate, I'm still vibing on a whole bunch of the shit that you said, and you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna leave, and Murph and I are just gonna see it for like 3 hours and just like vibe on some shit.
Keep talking.
Right, but first I'm gonna get some breakfast anyway.
Same. I need to work.
Dude, yes, dude. So we have run out of time with this one. This has been like epic, like absolutely. There's been so much quality stuff. I'll be honest, right? I know you love to chat, right? I know you love to chat. I know you for years. Love to chat. But the chats today, super quality.
Very good.
And
You've got some great nuggets in there.
Great nuggets, great nuggets. I also want to say thank you for rocking up almost on time as well. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Nah.
And you will see us back very soon with another Murph Mitise installment where we've got someone, whether it's just us. Just stay tuned and watch.
Stay tuned.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
I wish you'd been slouching for the whole thing. Mum's gonna be like, Gaby Bentley.